It will be
It will
momentarily.
be. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you, Alex. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to our February 26th Catalyze SV Project Advocacy Committee meeting. Have a good bit of stuff to get through tonight. Three sort of agenda items. An update on a project we previously scored called Santa Clara Park that recently went through Planning Commission approval for a recommendation for approval. And then I will talk a little bit about San Jose's inclusionary housing ordinance, which relates to affordable housing in the city of San Jose and how that gets built. And then I have a presentation for us tonight on 2940 Alum Rock Avenue, which is a 100% affordable housing project proposed for San Jose. So it's a pretty interesting project, and I hope you all like it. But first, let's just do some quick introductions because I know some of the folks here tonight are from our Shape SV program. Some of them are Catalyze SV PAC regulars, and others I don't recognize the name of. So I'll start. I'm Jake. I lead our project advocacy committee here. I find the projects, bring them in, and usually we have a developer come and present it. But tonight, the developers worked with me to put together a presentation, so I will be sharing those details with you. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I'm Executive Director of Catalyze SV. And in addition to my colleague Jake, we've got Shalini. Shalini, you want to take over and move
Yeah,
us through introductions?
my hi, I'm Shalini Gupta. I'm from Catalyze SV. Also, I lead the Shape SV Star program. So I see many of you joining through that. So thank you and welcome. I'll pass it to Augustine. Augustine?
Hi everyone, my name is Augustine.
Hi,
I've been
thank
involved.
you for joining.
I've been joining these meetings for about a year now, and they're very informative always. So I like to continue to join.
Thank you. You let's go to Stacy.
Hello, I'm Stacy Cobb, and I've been joining these meetings for the last several months, and it's been very informative for me, educational, and I enjoy hearing other people's point of view, and then also being able to share mine.
Stacy. Let's go to
Thank you.
Carlin. Carlin, you're on mute. Carlin,
Technical touchscreen related issues. Hi, Carlin. Oh, still can't hear you. Interesting. I
And try.
apologize. Ah, there we go.
I'm trying a new technology and it's not working.
Well, it always happens. We can hear you now, though. So
Okay, I've been
glad you worked through it.
SV since, or catalyzed SV since about the beginning of it, and primarily working on the project advocacy committee because I'm a big believer in high density housing.
Good to have you here, and we do love high density housing. Sandana, if you'd like to go next.
Hi, I'm a student at San Jose State, and I'm part of Catalyze SV Cupertino for All in Green Foothills, and hope to advocate for smart growth and I guess like suburban retrofits. And yeah, I've been with Catalyze SV since September 2023.
Great to have you here. I think the project tonight we have is a little bit of a suburban retrofit, so maybe you'll find it interesting. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris. I've been part of Catalyze SV for over a year, more specifically the SEAL team for a year. And sometime over the summer, I joined the PAC committee. yeah, and I'm looking to go into basically combining real estate and city planning, kind of the social aspects of housing. So yeah, currently in quest of a career in that.
Good to have you here.
Yeah. Catalyze
Uh,
SV definitely has great connections in that field, so that's why I'm here.
all right. And then let's see, Blanca, if you'd like to say a brief introduction.
Hi, I am Blanca Rosas. I'm lead member for almost a year, and I got with the Calera a couple times. And thank you very much.
And thank you. And I think Lynette, I think that's last. You're the
Yeah.
last one up.
Jake, I think she mentioned in the comment that
Oh,
she.
thank you for letting me know. I can't see everything all at once. It's a little tricky. So, anyways, thank you all for taking a little bit of time to be here. And then first up, gonna recap a project that our project advocacy committee has scored in the past, last year in August. Um, and this is just a little update on where it's at, what's going on with it, and maybe what's coming up with it. So this was a 1,792 unit project in the city of Santa Clara. It was a big site. You can see it on the map here, Santa Clara Park. So it was that whole office park, and they are turning it into a completely residential project. And this is a recap from one of their slides, just detailing there's a site plan on the right, and here's a breakdown of some of the aspects of the site. Um, so it was a well parked site. There was a lot of park space, which is something that our members gave them credit for. And then it does have this sort of retail cafe that they're running, that the owner developer of the site is operating, but there's no other commercial space outside of this owner operated cafe, which is an interesting model. Um, Ultimately, our scorecard did not, the project did not hit that 3.5 threshold for support. It was lacking in a couple of areas. I think the areas that our members focused on the most for this project was vibrancy. They felt it was sort of maybe lacking something to really bring out the vibrancy of the site, like retail or some sort of active space, or small scale commercial operations, uh, things of that sort. And then also transportation, looking at how the site was connected to the existing urban fabric. It maybe was not as well connected as it should have been, and maybe they could invest a little bit more into uh, some sort of amenity to improve connections for residents, whether that's bicycle, a bike share program, bike lane enhancements, things of that sort. So that's where the scorecard fell for this project. And then uh, just, I think, on the 19th of this month, the park went to Santa Clara's Planning Commission. And Santa Clara's Planning Commission recommended it to City Council for approval. So this project will be going to the Santa Clara City Council sometime in the near future. I think the current date we have is possibly March 4th, but Santa Clara has not shared their agenda for that meeting just yet. So it might get pushed back or it might be on March 4th. So if you know someone who lives in Santa Clara who might be interested in saying anything about the project, or if you live near this project or in Santa Clara yourself, it might be something worth looking into, worth showing up to that city council meeting. Alex, did you have anything you wanted to share on this project, since I know you sort of both have been involved with this one?
Great job, Jake. I just want to emphasize that March 4th is actually next week. It may not feel like it, but it is coming up fast. And if you do want to comment on the project, we definitely welcome it, and let Jake know if he can help facilitate that. Um, yeah, so we're not doing an action alert on this project at this time because it didn't score well enough for us to support, but it's not so bad that, like the Chick-fil-A project we've been working on with you all, that we needed to oppose it. So, but if you'd like to give comments, we definitely welcome folks weighing in.
Yeah, it's a lot of housing, and that's always good. And so, not something that we necessarily want to oppose or facilitate an action alert around for that reason. But that's what's coming up for this project, and I'll take us on to our next item, which is skipping from Santa Clara over to some San Jose related news. And that's regarding their inclusionary housing ordinance. And this is sort of how a lot of affordable housing gets built in San Jose, elsewhere. Other cities have similar ordinances to this, but I'm going to go over San Jose's and how that has changed recently. So, a inclusionary housing ordinance, or IHO, requires both market rate and also affordable developers to provide some sort of contribution to affordable housing. That can be building affordable units on site, including them in their project. Um, or there's a lot of other ways that that can be done, that they can make that contribution. The IHO that San Jose has applies to projects that are looking to build 10 or more units. So that's where this kicks in. And the basic way that we most commonly see the uh, IHO followed by developers is they will provide 15% of their total units as income restricted affordable units, deed restricted affordable units. Um, and I'll talk a little bit about that compliance method and some other ones here, because they don't just have to build on site. There's this menu of basically 11 options that the city presents to a developer when they come forward with their project. They can build those units on site, like I said, 15%. They can build them off site, and then it's a little different. 20% of the units have to be built off site as affordable. And then they can also opt to pay an in lieu fee, which basically means instead of building these units, they are going to pay into a pool of funds that will then go to fund other affordable projects or affordable units. And you have mixed compliance, which means it's a mix of you build some and then you pay for some. And then there's all these other options here, which include things like buying land for the city so they can bank it and build on it later. But I'd say the two most common that we see in the project advocacy committee are that build on site, the bolded one, and partnership for cluster units. Uh, we typically see that in larger planned projects where maybe there's a mix of townhomes and then a market rate apartment building. The partnership for cluster units is where the developer of the site as a whole finds a partner, an affordable housing developer, to develop that affordable housing portion of the site. So build on site and partnership for cluster units are what we see most often here. And typically, I'll just go over the build on site option because this is, I would say, by far the most common we see with market rate and affordable developers is if they're building for sale units. Really, I think we've only ever seen this in townhomes. 15% of those units have to be affordable, up to buyers that make 110%, up to households that make up to 110% of the area median income. And then if they go with four rent units, which is I think we see way more often than for sale, 15% of the units have to be affordable at that income breakdown. So 5% to moderate households, 5% to low, 5% to very low. Or they can do 10% of units for extremely low income households. So that's 30% of AMI. So a very deep level of affordability there. So for rent units, developers have two options, that 15% at those incomes or 10% at a very deep income level. Now, there's a lot of exemptions, and I'm not going to cover all of them because some of them are really technical and really out there. But I'm going to talk about the newest addition to sort of the, I guess, family of exemptions and options that developers have for pursuing compliance with affordable housing, which is the multifamily housing incentive program. This is a very freshly adopted program, just adopted last year in December of 2024. And it applies to a set of previously approved market rate and affordable projects. And what it does is it waives the inclusionary housing ordinance's in lieu fees if the developer provides 5% of their units at income restricted affordability levels. So they can decrease from 15% to 5%, and then their fees are waived. Normally, what would happen if a developer built 5% is that they would be paying an in lieu fee for the rest. It's part of that mixed compliance option. They'd be paying a fee for not building the remaining 10% of units. This program also reduces a number of construction taxes as well as realigns park fees for certain areas of the city. But the bulk of, I think, what is most important to us, our work, you all, our members, is the impacts it'll have on the provision of affordable housing, developers building affordable housing. For the market rate projects, this covers 7,533 units in San Jose. So there's 7.5 thousand units in San Jose that could be affected by this, of currently approved units that could be impacted by this. And in total, it applies to 35 projects in the city. So it's not a huge inventory of projects that it applies to, but they are all currently approved projects. This is a list of the market rate projects that Catalyze SV has scored. So the current scores for these projects, or the current provision of affordable units for these projects, might be altered in the future. So that's something we will keep an eye on for you all. And another reason for just putting this all together here is to just recap the many different ways that developers in San Jose have to deal with provisioning affordable housing. There's not just building on site, but an array of options that developers can pick and choose when it comes to complying with the affordable housing ordinance or with our inclusionary housing ordinance. So it can be pretty confusing. And if anyone has any questions about any of the terminology there, or definitions, or how projects might be impacted, please go ahead and ask them, and I will attempt to explain to the best of my ability.
So in lieu fees means that like they can just like pay for like, for example, like parks, and instead of like offering like affordable housing, and you can do market rate instead.
Yeah, in lieu, it's in lieu of. So in lieu of building these units as they would build them on site or off site, they're going to pay a fee instead, and that fee corresponds to the amount of units that they are not building. So that then goes into a pot. Each district is broken up for that specific area. It goes into a pot for funds that can then be dispersed to other affordable housing projects that need city funds. So that's what the fee is. I hope that answered your question.
And Sandana, the fee goes only to affordable housing, not
Only goes
to
to
parks
affordable
or
housing.
anything else, just to building affordable housing.
Yeah.
Oh, only to affordable housing. Okay.
And you may have
Yeah.
heard it because other fees can be called in lieu fees, but this is specifically the IHO like in lieu fee. Like in lieu of providing dedicating open space or park space, in on the topic of parks, a developer could instead then choose to pay a fee instead of giving that space over for parks.
And traditionally, our members have preferred the building on site because it's integrated communities. It's great to have the fee in one sense because it creates a bigger pool of money that the city can then lend out to its favorite affordable housing projects to get built. But the downside there is that when you have that fee, the housing isn't getting built into an integrated building next to market rate units. And so it's being built some other time in some other place. And so it's a totally different project. And so the money gives more flexibility, but it also is not as certain as, hey, there's going to be 100 market rate units, and mixed in next door to those are going to be, 15 affordable housing units.
Not only is it like the topic of like making sure those are all income integrated units, but also build on site. The developer does that, you're going to be getting those units with this project versus it going into funds when the project isn't in the pipeline just yet, or maybe you don't know what that's going to be going towards in the future, or how long it'll be before those affordable units materialize. Any other questions? If not, I can move on to our main event tonight, which is also an affordable housing project. So I'll be talking how later on when we're scoring the affordability category for tonight's project, I'll talk about how it complies with the inclusionary housing ordinance. Then, if we're all good, here's tonight's project, 2940 Alum Rock Avenue. I have put together a little something to provide site context. So let me see, that's next up here. So I'll situate everyone with where this project is in San Jose, what it looks like. Let me see if I can now manage to use Zoom correctly. Play nicely. No, it will not. I don't even know where my share screen option is. It's gone. Oh, there it is. Here we go. So hopefully you can all see this here. I just wanted to do something a little different, use Google Earth Preview here to situate everyone in the context of our site in San Jose. This little red pin over here, 2940 Alum Rock Avenue, is where it is, and we'll go take a look at that. And I'll talk a little bit about what's around the site and its transit connections for when we get to talking about transportation. So there's our site. It is formerly a hardware store. It is no longer. And so it was just a commercial space, as you can see, big old parking lot. And then around the site over here off of Alum Rock Avenue, we have a quarter-mile buffer and a half-a-mile buffer just to show you some of the amenities around it. So there's the high school right here. I'll turn on some place labels so that we can see businesses, other things. There's a bus stop directly in front of it, and that's for the 22 and 522. The blue lines on the streets here are just representative of those bus routes that are running by the site. So it's a fairly well connected by bus site, with those bus lanes being some of VTA's most used, the 23, 25, and 522. It also has the orange line running through this half-mile buffer near the site. So VTA's orange light rail line in that case. And then there's also a good number of Class 2 bike lanes running adjacent to the site on the streets up here along Alum Rock and White Road and Capitol Avenue. Class 2 bike lanes are just paint on the ground bike lanes. So they aren't protected. They typically aren't even usually buffered with like a striped white space between them. So just some very, very basic bike lanes. And then I tried, because I know some people have been interested in the past, to indicate where grocery stores are. So really, we only have one grocery store at the site within that half-mile radius. It's a Sprouts. And then there are a number of sites within a 1 mile, but just outside of that half-mile radius. Does anyone have any question about what's really and upload camera? Yes, it's a about the imaginary So so you state for listeners and imagine seeing what you know continue to actually so person is large from the friend and count cleaning you are in the right general thing I made the same I already do the goes to say yeah
This year,
for awesome I pretend we were on for you under that about the kitchen to outside and exceedingly the is around the legend is one still present so one file I didn't all say all job is right so energy green city center and my so much fiber yeah not see some is the for the dish shady and new trends so all the design it touch that new creepy have the plan basis you don't want to but it's just a bit it's out of the so since then run use mother so it's supposed to sort what's the test next day I'll kill you her unit or unit it's like ballet the is this is with what's the words the energy the ground I do trying to sound so using the fact all was it you can see the later where start takes in and as reading so you just place never get it up court unit facilities that from that to the case all just to you find with sound to see then about here
I've been go and lecture there.
Each compatible
I was just you still also there's filter that shit built that more like that's not
you sort of will add my name yeah the also check the hills for the I am more than let them go it has to be right up build you talk to them and remember right when I shot the man board I put like I am traffic on his telephone to the other
keep these me violence being directed different so being that are
you know pattern and whether give the cat pretty so center that so go to your payment until 5 years old
on the on the way to
and the last or black musical site like the greatest going for see that right not only not near you also there but other you have no